Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amrutangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. O Lord, please lead us from unreal to the reality, ignorance to the knowledge, and from death to immortality. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Dear devotees, if you remember in the previous class, we were, 15 weeks before, we were trying to discuss about the solitude. Why do we need solitude and the necessity of solitude in the spiritual life? When there is a silence externally in the external environment, then you will be able to listen, or we will be able to listen our own mind, our own internal noises, maybe restlessness of the mind, or desires, or thought process, or our inclinations, intuitions, all these things we'll be able to understand. That is the reason we need solitude. And also, generally, our minds are a bit restless and disturbed easily. And if there is external disturbance, then we cannot concentrate. So if you can observe solitude, or if you can go to solitude, then when there is no external disturbance, then it is good for us. One type of disturbance is lessened, and the internal disturbance can be reduced by controlling the senses and by controlling the mind. And once we do that, we'll be able to understand our own mind. We'll be able to understand our own thought process, and we'll be able to understand our thinking process, and we can streamline. Just like when there is a water is still, you can see the bottom of the lake or bottom of the water body. So similarly, if mind becomes still, then we can concentrate, we can meditate, we can do reflective thinking, or we can meditate on the God, all these things. That's why we have to seek solitude. And sometimes people go to forest, people go to solitary places. If they are not, what do you say, they don't know what to do, then again, there can be a problem. Of course, in those days, these days, we have got a mobile, and if there's an internet, then there's no problem at all. If not, then what we will do? We eat and sleep, sleep and eat. That is the reason the next sadhana, the spiritual practice, has been told by Adi Shankaracharya, the greatest philosopher, as paratare chetas samadhiyatam, means fix your mind in Supreme Self. I sought solitude. I am trying to observe silence. Silence or solitude is not in end itself. Afterwards, you have to try to meditate. If you try to contemplate on God or on the Brahman or on the consciousness. So meditation on God is told. Meditation on the self is told here. Either it is called Vedantic meditation, Nididhyasana you can do, or the devotional type of meditation, either Leela Dhyana, that is meditating on the God's different incidents in the life incidents, or Rupa Dhyana, meditating on the God with his divine form, with all his splendor, or Guna Dhyana, trying to meditate on the God with his innumerable qualities, or Swarupa Dhyana, who is God? What is his nature? So keeping the scriptures, Vedas and Upanishads and other scriptures as a base, and where they have referred or where they have explained who is God, what is God, keeping that, one can meditate. Now, when we try to fix our mind on the God or on the consciousness, it is not that easy. It keeps on wavering, it keeps on doing world tour our mind. What to do? For that, in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord Krishna gives a very practical example or practical solution for us. What is that? Shanai Shanai Ruparamet Buddhya Dhrutigruhitaya Atma Samstam Manakrutva Na Kinchidapi Chintayet. Means have Shanai Shanai Ruparamet. So little by little, try to control your mind, control your thoughts, control your desires. Then Atma Samstam Manakrutva. and try to fix your mind on the Atman or on the self or on the God, and nakinchidapi chintayet. Try to not to think anything else. Think on God and God alone. Think on self and self alone, and don't encourage your mind or restrain your mind thinking with any other thoughts. Maybe about your breakfast or your lunch you can think, or regarding your work you can think, or regarding your own family, people, friends, you may think, or the incidents, whatever has happened recently, which is very strong in your mind, which has left very strong impressions in your mind, you may think. So all these things should be shunned. Sankalpa prabhavan kaman tektva sarvana sheshatah manasai vendriyagramam viniyamya samantatah. And slowly, firmly, we should practice meditation and fixing the mind on the Atman. He should not think of anything else at all. And also abandoning the desires born of egocentric will and controlling the mind and the sense, one should practice meditation. So now it is very practical solution has been given by Lord. One is abandon desires, abandon other thoughts, little by little or bit by bit, try to fix your mind on the God, on the self alone, and try to meditate. So here, Vyavasayatmika Buddhi means a firm resolve. Resolved intellect is very important here. Now, and also very important point we should know is when you are mindful, when you are alert, when you are conscious, then the thoughts or the desires cannot stay for a long time. Many times people do tell, oh Swamiji, I am trying to concentrate, I am trying to meditate, I am unable to. Fine, fair enough. That is a problem of every human being, no doubt. Then what to do? Be aware that your mind is restless. After the process, after the meditation, if you think or if you tell or if you come to know that, oh, I was not able to meditate. No, that is not the thing. That's how it happens, but you should be conscious while trying to meditate. Now I'm sitting for meditation. I am supposed to concentrate on the God or the self, that alertness. Whether I'm able to concentrate or not, if we are alert, then mind going to here and there will be lessened to the larger extent. This is very simple, very important point actually. For example, I got a desire to eat something during the meditation. If you're objectively, if you're away from the desire, and if you start analyzing, you are not supposed to encourage this thought. I'm supposed to meditate and I'm not supposed to encourage this thought. If you don't get attached to that, and if you're mindful enough, then the desire, the thought will subside. But generally what happens, in our cases, our mind gets attached with that, or our ego gets attached with that thought. Desire is nothing but a thought. So we get attached ourselves. It means our mind gets attached, our ego gets attached with the desire or with the thought. That's how it becomes very powerful. And we feel that I am unable to meditate, whatever it may be, because my mind is carried over by an incident or a desire or a thought. So you have to be alert, you have to be mindful. When you are mindful, any desire, any strong desire or thought can subside. Its power will be reduced and it cannot sustain for a long time. So that state is called very mindful state or awakened state. And Adbhutanji gives a very practical solution also. One who was an apostle of Sri Ramakrishna. Think that or deepen your thinking during the meditation. You and your God alone exist and no one else exists in this world for you. This helps to concentrate your mind. I am there and God is there. My chosen deity is there. Apart from these two, God and myself, there is no one else in the Lord. Of course, it is an imagination. No doubt, it is a pseudo thinking, no doubt. But by doing this, what happens? Slowly, your mind will stop thinking about others or about anything else. And it is forced to think of God and God alone. That is the intention there. Okay, I am trying to meditate either on the God or on the consciousness, or nididhyasana I am doing, or dhyana I am doing meditation, devotional meditation. Then when you slowly get established, then what happens, that reflection you will be able to see outside also. Until otherwise I experience the God or the self in my own mind, in my own heart, I will not be able to see outside. This has to be very clear. Once it is, once you start experiencing the God or the self inside, then you'll be able to experience the God or the self in outside also, in other beings or in others, in other things. So now the person who has established meditation to a certain extent, to larger extent in himself, what will be his case next? Then he starts experiencing the God or experiencing the consciousness in everywhere, in every place, in everything. For a siddha, for an awakened soul, or the person who has reached the goal, for him it is a natural phenomena, natural experience. It is a fact for him, but for us to be attained. We have to attain, we have to reach that. So that is what the 35th spiritual practice given by Shankaracharya, Purnatma Susumikshatam, means experience the self everywhere. Isha Vasyamidam Sarvam, Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat, Tena Tektena Bunjita Madudakasya Svitana. Cover the entire world with the God. Cover the world with the God. Ishavasya sarvam, yatkincha jagatyam jagat. In the world, whatever it may be, atoms or any small objects or a big objects or innate objects or sentient or insentient, whatever it may be, cover everything with the Lord. Cover everything with the Isha. What does it mean? Why cover everything with the Lord? The Rishi is saying, because for sadhaka, he is unable to see the Lord, unable to see the consciousness everywhere. That's why he has to cover. He has to cover means what? Just like, for an example, this cloth I'm covering here. Is this like this? No. Here, it is a cognitive covering. That means I am trying to see, trying to experience the God, experiencing the consciousness everywhere. Based on the experience of the rishis, saints, prophets or incarnations, and based on the scriptures, I am trying to see the God or the self everywhere. Means I am trying to cover everything with the God or with the consciousness. It is an imagination. It is a thought process now for us. But when we progress in our spiritual life, when we go nearer to the truth, no nearer to the goal, then we'll be able to experience the God, experience the self everywhere. So it is not because of imagination it happens, but it is the fact. So people may argue that, oh, Swamiji, because you said that you imagine that God exists everywhere, consciousness exists in everything. So you asked us to imagine. So and we are imagining and imagining quite a few times or quite for a long time. Then that same imagination becomes true. It can be hallucination. How can you say that it is a fact? Yes, that can be the argument, but because it is not an hallucination, it is a matter of experience. Why? Because it is there for many people and it is proven also. Maybe in the case of Sri Ramakrishna. That's what when Naren asked Sri Ramakrishna, Sir, have you seen God? He said, yes, I have seen God. But the difference is, I have seen God much more clearly than seeing you. Like Sri Ramakrishna is seeing Naren in the physical, in the grosser world, both are sitting each other, opposite to each other, and they are seeing with their naked eyes. And Sri Ramakrishna says that I've experienced the God much more clearly than I'm seeing you. What a beautiful and what a great statement. But and also, if you want, I can also show you, I can help you to see the God. Yoga Sahayak means if someone wants to reach the God, someone wants to reach the self, Sri Ramakrishna is here to help us. That's why in Kandana Bandhana, the hymn which we sing mostly at evenings, there Swami Vivekananda has addressed Sri Ramakrishna as Yoga Sahai. Means he, the person, for all the spiritual aspirants across the religions, across the globe, he is ready to help the spiritual aspirants to go forward in the spiritual life. And Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Everywhere. Whatever exists in this world, whatever exists, either innate or sentient or insentient or living, non-living, everything is what? The consciousness alone. Anyhow, there's one small joke I would like to tell in between. Probably I would have told in some other lecture also this story. So the story goes like this. There were two Pandits. One was Rama Bhatta, the other is Krishna Bhatta. Both are very, from pious family they had come and they had studied Vedas, they had studied Upanishads, I mean, Upanishads also part of Vedas, of course. Then there were Vedangas, 6 auxiliaries of Vedas they have read, and they are very established Pandits, scholars. And if you ask anything from any corner of the scriptures, most of the scriptures, everything was in their fingertips. They were able to tell, they were able to clear the doubts. They were good friends also. And they were staying opposite to each other. One fine day, for some silly reason, whatever it may be, there was a clash, there was a quarrel, and because they are scholars, their egos are also very sensitive, well grown up, fat ego. Because of their fat egos, they quarreled. For silly reason, they quarreled, and from that day, their friendship converted into enmity. When we are very close friends, when it turns into enmity, the enmity also will be very intense. That's so the same thing happened in them also. Unfortunately, they were so close friends, and now they have become very strong opponents or enemies. Every day, for some or other reason, they used to simply find some cause, they used to explore some cause, and they used to fight each other. Entire village was well aware of this, and they used to make a lot of fun about these two, Krishna Bhatta and Rama Bhatta. One day, Krishna Bhatta was called for a congregation where he is supposed to give a talk on Upanishads. Of course, it is a cakewalk for him, and anyhow, it was like a conference where a lot of Pandits, scholars are there. It is like scholars conclave, you can say. So though he knew, but still he did prepare little. He recapitulated his studies, and he prepared well so that he can go and address that. And he went, and he was welcomed with all pomp and show because he was a great Pandit scholar, and he was requested that please address on this Upanishadic topic. Then with his great, knowledge of the Upanishads and the Sanskrit and the hold on language, he was beautifully explaining the whole, the audience were mesmerized by his knowledge. Such a beautiful person, from where and where he is quoting from the scriptures, and the way he is exposing, the exposition of the scriptures were all something marvelous. Everyone were astonished and mesmerized. While talking with while he was giving a talk on the Upanishads, at some point of time, he had to quote Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Okay? See, he is a Pandit, he knows Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya, Brahman alone is real and the world is an appearance, all these things he is telling. But if you don't have a Chitta Shuddhi, if you don't have a purity of mind, if you don't have emotional maturity, if you don't have spiritual maturity, what happens? This is the best example. Though he knew everything in his fingertips, all the scriptural knowledge, but when he was supposed to quote the Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, immediately, unfortunately, he remembered Rama Bhatta. So his mind was not ready to accept Rama Bhatta in this Brahman. How can Rama Bhatta can be Brahman? No. His ego didn't accept it. His ego didn't allow him to accept that. Though it's a fact, but anyhow, it didn't allow. Anyway, he's a Sanskrit Pandit, and immediately said, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma Rama Bhattam Vina. People, many didn't understand, very few observed or very few noted it. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, whatever exists in this world, everything is Brahman, Rama Bhattam Vina. Accept Rama Bhatta. So in Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, Rama Bhatta doesn't come here. This is pseudo Vedantin. He has got a knowledge of scriptures, but he has missed the spirit of the scriptures. He is unable to practice because of the lack of mental purity or lack of sadhana chatushtaya sampannata. Sadhana chatushtaya, 4 prerequisites, which has been told in Advaita Vedanta as a prerequisites for a adhikari, for a fit aspirant. He is missing in him. That's why he was unable to accept that. He has quarreled, all that fine. But in Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, while telling why he didn't accept Rama Bhatta, he should have accepted. He should accept and he should have accepted, but he didn't accept. Why? Because of his fat ego. Lack of mental purity, lack of intellectual purity. So many times we do think, we have read so much Upanishads, or we are attending Vedanta classes, we have read complete works of Swami Vivekananda, we read Gospel of Ramakrishna, we read so many scriptures, but still we are unable to put into practice. Why? Because of lack of mental purity, because of lack of intellectual purity, lack of control of mind and sense organs, and lack of intense desire for liberation, and lack of discipline also. So until otherwise these are well established, then you cannot have the knowledge, it cannot become the fact, square fact of the life. This we have to be very clear. Because when we hear Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, Ishavasam Vidam Sarvam, intellectually we may understand, but we can't conceive. We cannot experience. Why? Because of the ignorance. Fine, but then why we are not able to remove all of this? Because of the lack of sadhana, lack of spiritual practice, lack of mental purity. But whereas, if you see in the life of Sri Ramakrishna, life of Ramana Maharshi, life of Sant Gnandev, or life of Sant Tukaram, we can see that all of them experienced either the God or the self everywhere. Because sometimes we feel that, oh, these are all speculations, these are all mere thinking or hypothetical thinking. It is not though, it is a matter of experience. One can experience, and there are people who have experienced. That's the reason Swami Vivekananda addresses Sri Ramakrishna as spiritual laboratory. Who is Sri Ramakrishna? Who has made his life as spiritual laboratory. What a beautiful word again. Because he made his life as spiritual laboratory, and he tested whatever is told in Tantra Sadhanas, Tantra Shastras. He made all 64 sadhanas, he practiced, and he reached the goals, whatever has been prescribed in that particular Shastra. Then Vaishnava Mata he practiced, then all Vedanta Mata, Advaita Vedanta he practiced, and he reached Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Then Islam and Christianity also, whatever that to be attained, he attained, and he showed that all these are practicable and reachable. It is not mere speculation. So that's why we have to practice. When you practice, what happens? You'll be able to experience the God, experience the self everywhere. If you get established in meditation, then as a result, you'll be able to see the God everywhere. That's what Swami Vivekananda tells beautifully. See the God with open eyes. What does it mean? Means even if you open the eyes, what we will see? We will see people. We will see things. We will see good and bad, right and wrong. Yes, it's a part of because the world is dual world, no doubt. But when we rise ourselves, then we'll be able to see this. Then this also may think that, oh, again, Swamiji, it is an imagination thinking, probably. No. Probably I can give a simple example of Swami Vivekananda himself. As a young Naren, when he came, initial days, he was never used to like Advaita Vedanta. But Sri Ramakrishna knew what is his path. Sri Ramakrishna used to ask, can you read Ashtavakra Gita? He said, no, I am not interested. Then Sri Ramakrishna used to tell, okay, my dear, not for you, for my sake, please, can you read for me? Means just read aloud so that I can hear. Okay, sir, to please you, I shall read Ashtavakra Gita. He read Ashtavakra Gita to please Sri Ramakrishna. He read Avadhuta Gita to please Sri Ramakrishna. Okay, one fine day he has come, and he and his other devotees, disciples are sitting. Sri Ramakrishna is sitting on the small cot in the Dakshineshwar. And he was explaining that the whole world is Brahman, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. I, you, the people who are there, and this buildings, room, the cot, jug, kettle, everything is Brahman, everything is consciousness. Everything is soaked in consciousness. Consciousness alone exists. Young Naren came out. He didn't like this. How can the jug and the kettle and the cot and the towel, all these things can be Brahman? Oh, nonsense, all these things. He came out, and his friend Azra was there. He was a great hypocrite. Then he said, look, I think Sri Ramakrishna is a good man, no doubt. But somewhere I think sometimes he loses his mental balance because of overthinking or because of over spiritual practices probably. He's Bagala, Kappa. Why? Because he's telling, see, everything is Brahman, it seems. I, you, etc., etc. Azra was waiting for a chance. Yes, my dear, you don't understand. You are young, you don't have experience. You go, and nicely he shaves your head. Like that he was mocking. And both were having a fun of Advaita at the cost of Master's message. Slowly Sri Ramakrishna came out and asked, Naren, what are you asking? What are you talking? What are you discussing, both of you? And here, Naren's personality is a beautiful to be understood, a point which we have to think. Generally, what we do, if same thing if it happened in our case, we avoid that. Oh, sir, nothing, sir, we were discussing something. We try to brush aside. We don't tell the truth. Why? He may feel hurt. He may get angry. or it is not even decency, etc. But young Naren was very, very straightforward, sincere, in a good way. Because sometimes we are straightforward and sometimes we feel very bluntly we speak. That also should not be there. We should be straightforward, no doubt. We are sincere, no doubt. But the way, the attitude or the tone we speak with others is also very important. So, young Naren, sir, you were speaking of Advaita Vedanta, that I, you, everything, kettle, jug, cart, everything is Brahman, it seems. So that is all. I mean, I don't like her. I didn't understand her. Rather, it is not right. So just we were talking about it. And he was sincere enough and he told it what is right. She said, what? So you don't understand? You don't think that? Because my mother has shown me all that. But young Naren didn't accept it. And Sri Ramakrishna tested him, divine test. Sri Ramakrishna just tested young Naren. In no time, the whole world, the room and the walls and the things and everything was getting merged in one thing, and everything was hazy for him. Just like even the people were looking like very hazy. For example, there's a thick fog and I'm seeing in a 10, 20 meters, some form I'm seeing, but I'm not able to know who is actually. Either is a person or an animal or a thing or whatever, we don't know. But a very vague form I'm able to see, but I'm not able to see who is he, who is she, or what is it. Very vaguely I'm able to see, hazy form. So, and Swami Vivekananda, young Naren, is able to see the whole world is soaked with the consciousness. And this, whatever the people and the things and the vehicles, everything is looking very hazy, a dreamy figure, very hazy figure, and the notion of reality is being lost. And it so happened so much so that he's going and he's in the middle of the road. And there's a horse carriage is coming fastly, and the driver, charioteer, is telling, oh, get away, get away. We are going fast. But young Naren is not bothered. But somehow the accident was, somehow Naren was saved. Because Naren is not able to feel that there is an horse carriage and there people are coming, that is true. And if I stand, they will come and hit me and I will die, or I may get fractured. He's not able to feel, he's not able to feel. Why? Because his experience is saying that everything is consciousness and this whole world, a dreamy world, it is a dreamy world. There's no reality in that. The notion of reality as a matter, Satyatva Buddhi, we say. So the Satyatva Buddhi now, for me, this watch is real for me, as a watch is real. But for him, it was just a form, a name and form, but it was just consciousness and consciousness alone. It went, and afterwards he wanted to test himself. While he going in the park, which there was a huge iron railings. Earlier he was experiencing that as iron railings. Now again he was not sure about whether it exists or not. He was going and he was hitting his, head hard towards it, whether it exists or not. And he goes to the house, and mother calls, come, this is lunchtime, and you should take your lunch. And he sits, and plate has been put, rice and dal and curries are served, and he's unable to eat. One or two times he's able to take, afterwards he's not able to sit. That Brahmarpanam Brahma Vihi, Brahmagno Brahmanautam, Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam, Brahma Karma Samadhina. Brahmarpanam, the act of offering is what Brahman. Brahma Havihi, the oblations, Havis, the oblations is what Brahman. Brahmagno, in the stomach, our fire is there. Outside in the oblations we see fire, in the yagnas we see fire. That is also Brahman. Brahmagno, Brahmanautam. Even I'm offering that act of offering is also Brahman. Brahmaiva tena gantavya. Brahma, and whatever is left over, that is also Brahma. Brahmaiva tena, Brahma karma samadhina. Everything is merging in Brahman. Brahman and Brahman alone exist. That's a part of Bhagavad Gita. Before taking food, generally, most of us, we chant this mantra. Means our eating should be sacrificed as a part of yagna, not for taste sake. So that is also an act, yagna actually. Anyhow, so Swami Vivekananda, as a young Naren, used to feel. He is unable to eat food. Why? Because the food morsels, the food particles, the plate, and the mother serving, and himself, everything is what Brahman for him. And there is no there's no question of eating at all. He suddenly used to sit. Mother used to say, Naren, what happened? Ki holo, what happened? Why are you not eating? Then he used to come into consciousness, he used to take, and sometimes he used to sleep there only. He used to behave very weirdly, like Avaduta, probably. But he was in that state for a few days. Then when his mind came down slowly, his mind came down. Then he started experiencing the world as it is, as we all experience. Now, why did I tell all these things incident? Because so everything is so good with the consciousness. Consciousness and consciousness alone exists. When we hear from the Upanishads, when we hear from the teachings of the saints, we think maybe, may not be. Or it is an imagination, speculation, whatnot. It is not so. It is a matter of experience. And there are a number of people who have experienced it. The same thing has been told here. Purnatma susimikshatam. Experience the self, experience the consciousness everywhere. For Siddha Purusha, for the enlightened person, it is a fact, and for us, for spiritual aspirants, for sadhakas, it is to be achieved. It is the goal to be achieved. Okay. Now, once you understand, I am that Brahman, I and Brahman are not two things, only Brahman and Brahman alone exist. Consciousness and consciousness alone exist, are pure awareness. Then what happens? This world is made up of name and form. It is an appearance. It is just projection, we understand. That's what in the 36 sadhana has been told. Why it is sadhana? Again, for an experienced soul, experienced self, it is a fact, it's a reality that the world is an appearance or a maya, but for us, it is to be achieved. That's why it also has been put under sadhana. Jagadidam tad bhaditam drushyatam means see this world as falsified by it. As falsified by it means what? Recognize or understand this finite universe is a projection of the self. Because Maya has got two powers. Whoever has studied the Advaita Vedanta in a classical way, you'll be able to understand. One is Avarna Shakti, the other is Vikshepa Shakti. Avarna Shakti is the power of covering, and Vikshepa Shakti is the power of projection. Now, for an example, in the Indian context, if you see in the olden days, there was no electricity, only lamps everywhere. And in a corner of an house, there was a rope. Because there was neither it was completely dark, nor it is completely light, but it is very dim light. In the dim light, I suddenly saw a snake and I shouted that snake, snake, snake. Then I started profusing sweat and I was trying to find for a stick, and I called people, I shouted, and people also came with the lamp and with the sticks and all, etc. Then people asked, oh, where is the snake? Where is the snake? Either they want to catch or they want to beat, they want to kill it. Then I showed in the corner and they put the lantern there. Now enough light is there. Then we see there is only a rope, not the snake. Then people started laughing. Oh, my dear, it is a rope, not a snake. Then I also saw with the help of light, yes, it is a rope, and it is a rope, not the snake. Now what happened actually? First is covering. Avarna Shakti, the power of covering. The rope has not been seen as a rope, has been covered. Okay? Vikshepa Shakti, the rope has been projected as a snake. So the Brahman has been covered. That is what Avarna Shakti. And the Brahman has been projected as this Jagat, as this world, Nama Rupatmaka Jagat, the name and form. That is what we mean Maya. Now, how to understand this? It is also very, very difficult. How much ever we read, how much ever we study, you can understand what is Brahman. We cannot understand what is Maya such easily. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of discussions, lot of understanding, and lot of contemplation. Why? Because it doesn't exist, but it appears to exist. Even Shankaracharya himself says in Brahma Sutra, in logical treatise, in the commentary on the Vyasas Sutras, he says, Maya anirvachaniyam. It is inexplainable. We cannot explain. Sadasadbhyam. Why? Sat. Whether it exists, you cannot say. Okay, you tell an asat, then it doesn't exist, you tell. No, that also cannot be told. It is in between sadasadbhyam and it is anirvachaniya. It cannot be explained. But the people have experienced it. Based on their experience, the Rishis have told that this is what the Maya. What is Yama Sa Maya? The power by which whatever exists, it appears that it doesn't exist, and whatever doesn't exist, it appears to be existing. That is what called Maya. The Brahman exists everywhere. The Brahman is the reality, but we might have conviction, or we may think maybe, may not be. Who knows, Brahman exists or not. So Brahman only alone exists, but we have got a doubt. Or we may have got some sort of faith, but not completely. But in many cases, yeah, I don't think it exists. So whatever is existing, it is appearing that it is not existing. Okay. Then what about this world, materialistic world? It is only name and form. Actually, the Brahman is appearing as this name and form. When we say that, I don't know whether Brahman appears or exists or not, but this world exists, it is very true for me. Because my experience says, you may say anything, but you cannot contradict my experience. So whatever is reality, it is appearing as unreal. Whatever is unreal, it is appearing as real for us. This is what the power of Maya. So we have to understand. How, for just simple example is snake and rope. Rope exists actually. That is what's called Sat or Brahman. And the snake is what? This is the mental projection. My imagination, my speculation. So similarly, so there is a projection of our mind. Cosmic mind's mental projection is there. That is the reason this world is appearing. Simple example I can give you is, we have got 5 sense organs of knowledge, Panchaknanendriyas. Because of these 5 sense organs of knowledge, all our knowledge we are getting it. Whether you see colors, or you hear the sound, you taste, or you feel, or you smell, whatever the knowledge is we are perceiving, all the knowledge comes under any one of these actually. And all these 5, experiences we are getting from 5 sense organs of knowledge. That is Panchaknanendriyas, along with the mind. Now, say for discussion's sake, God gives one more sense organ of knowledge. Then instead of Panchaknanendriya, it becomes Shashtagnanendriya. So six sense organs becomes. If I get one more sense organs, my appearing of the world will change. Why? Because the circumference of my knowledge gets expanded. We all know that even, for example, electromagnetic spectrum. X-rays we know, alpha rays we know, gamma rays we know, beta rays, infrared rays, all these things we know. But can we see it from our naked eye? No. Only with a particular frequency and wavelength, my naked eye can see. Before that, after that, I cannot see. Whereas animals can see. Now, say example, even instead of 6 sense, as an evolution, as an biological evolution, or by a God's will, so my power, the perception power of my eye got increased. Means just like animals, even now I am able to perceive infrared rays, I am able to perceive alpha rays, beta rays, X-rays, and infrared rays and whatnot. If it's so, then again my experiencing of this world gets changed. Say, how you are able to see through, how you are able to listen my talk, and you are able to see my picture and also able to talk. Why? Because I am using a laptop with the help of internet, which is catching my sound and as well as form. And you are also connected to that internet with the app or whatever. And that's where it is producing the sound and the form actual. And here it is actually what do you say, the tarangas, that is the waves, which is called mobile waves, 4G or 5G. Now, say for an example, my eyes have been capable of now experiencing or visualizing or seeing even the, what do you say, mobile, the frequency waves, 5G, 4G, whatever you say. Then what happens? This whole world looks different. Now in front of me, there's nothing. There's nothing in front of me. Only in between my eyes and these fingers, there's nothing in between except space and light. But when my power of eye gets increased, in between there will be no empty space. It is with full of thoughts. It is with full of waves. What waves? That mobile 3G or 4G or 5G. Then my understanding about this world, it becomes changing, gets changed. We all get the knowledge from these 5 sense organs of knowledge. Wonderful, true, indeed. But at the same time, it is also limiting our border, limiting our framework of our knowledge. So it is giving the distorted image of the reality. That's what Upanishad says. It is giving some information about the reality, but it is giving the limited knowledge or distorted knowledge. Why? Because the 5 sense organs of knowledge can perceive things only in the particular frequency, particular wavelength. Similarly with the sound, similarly with the heat, similarly with the taste probably. So we, on the particular range, we can feel, experience before or after. I cannot do that. So those signs say that whatever you perceive by your sense organs, that alone is true. The Upanishads and the Advaita Vedanta test its testimony, test its validity. How can you prove, or how can you say that whatever you perceive only from five sense organs of knowledge, that alone is true? And why are you putting that border? Beyond that, there are things. Today, through microscope and telescope and the advanced instruments, we are able to understand all these things. It is true, today we have understood, isn't it? So that means our understanding about the world is limited in the nature. Why? Because through five sense organs of knowledge. Now, if I go above, then what happens? Through mind, if I start experiencing the world, just like a dream. In dream, you went to New York, and you were enjoying the New York weather. And you went to ice cream shop, Baskin Robinson ice cream. You went to a Baskin Robinson ice cream and you are enjoying with a chocolate soup or with a probably black currant. I like black currant, so I'm saying black currant ice cream with a pudding, whatnot. And you were enjoying it. And you were enjoying. Your alarm rang and you got up and your dream broke. Now you are the experiencer. And the object of experience called Baskin Robinson black currant ice cream and act of experience, all the three things were formed by your mind alone, your mental projection alone. That every one of us we can understand in the dream. Why? Your mind has, because your body is in the rest, your sense organs are under rest, your mind is projecting the experiencer, the experience, and the experienced. But when it comes to Jagrata Avastha, when it comes to the awakened state, so-called awakened state, we feel it is not so. But it is also a dream state. When you were in dream, when you were enjoying Baskin Robinson ice cream, blackcurrant ice cream in a dream, if Shantivratanandaji comes and tells, look, my dear, whatever you were experiencing, the Baskins and Robinson, BR, Baskin Robinson blackcurrant ice cream, that is mithya, that is only dream, it is not real. He says, Swami, please allow me to, in your Vedanta class, you keep all these things. Now allow me to enjoy my ice cream, you may say. Then I said, okay, all the best. I come out. Then Shantivratanandaji has disappeared in your dream at least. But your alarm rings, then you get up. Then you have come from dream state to the awakened state, Jagrata Avastha. You will understand that the dream state experience is not real. It was just mental projection. So Mandikya Upanishad says that even so-called this Jagrata Avastha is also a big dream, long dream. How much ever we read, study, try to understand, we may get convinced, but our experience doesn't tally. Why? Because we are in the Jagrata Avastha and we are trying to negate it. If you are in Swapnavastha and if you try to negate Swapnavastha, it will be difficult. But once you come into Jagrata Avastha, automatically you will be able to understand, yes, it is a dream or it doesn't have any reality. So similarly, when you go to Turiya Avastha means experiencing the consciousness all the time. So even this Jagrata Avastha will be like Swapnavata. It is like just like any dream state. You will be able to understand. So this has been natural for all the Brahmajnanis for us to understand and to have conviction in that and to practice, to realize. So whatever you see, the Brahman with form, with name and form. Vacharambano vikaro namadeyam mrittikasyeva satyam. The clay alone is real. There's a pot, there's a vase, and there's a plate, there's a tumbler, and there's a bowl. All are made up of clay. Clay alone is real, but when you break all of them, then what happens? It came from clay, it goes back to clay. Clay alone is real, but because of different shapes, we have given different names for our transaction purpose, and they have got names and forms. Names and forms are not real. The substance alone is real. Yourself, you can imagine. There are so many items, objects made up of clay. But clay alone is real. Clay has been modified. Functional reality is that we don't deny it. Because just you cannot give a lump of clay and you cannot ask to cook. We need a pot, we need a particular form and we have to be baked and it should be burnt in the fire. Then only we can cook in that. Because, oh, clay and pot, both are one same, you say, Swami, then you show me by cooking. No, functional existence is there. That part is there. We can't deny it. And we don't, Advaitins also don't deny it. But it is nothing but clay. It is nothing but clay. So clay alone exists. Clay has been taken in different forms and different names as there. So names and forms, we are obsessed with that. So Advaitins is saying that get away from the names and forms, and then you'll be able to see the objective reality. What is that? That is what the Brahman. So world is also a part of Brahman. First, that's what Vedanta says that. Then afterwards, you says that, then there's a beautiful process. First, they say that, okay, what about this world? Yes, world exists. How? This world is made up of 5 gross elements, panchabhutas. It came from where? It came from 5 subtle elements, tanmatras. It came from where? Either it's a Trigunatmika Prakriti or from Maya. Fair enough. After understanding, then they will say, Array, this Maya alone, Maya doesn't exist. It is only just mirage. It is just mere a projection. That means the whole thing will be shattered. The whole house has been built and it has been shattered. This is a process. Superimposition and desuperimposition. That's why they are calling Jagat is Mithya. Means don't attach to this world because it is a mental projection. I mean, try to attach yourself with the reality. That's what the Brahman. Even you see, you attach to the people, attach to things, we suffer. When we suffer, we understand, but afterwards, because of our desires or whatever, again we go and attach. The more and more you attach to the God and the reality, the less we suffer. There's a natural phenomenon, natural truth. All of us, we know that, whether we are able to put into practice or not. Why? Because when you fix yourself in the reality, there is no problem. There is no bhaya. When there is a duality, there's always bhaya, fear of something. But when there is non-dual, there is no fear. So that's why we have to experience the Brahman. For that, we have to control our mind, sense organs. We should try to do spiritual practices. We should have a, what you say, mental purification, and you should attend Vedanta classes, and we should try to practice all these things so that we shall be happy at all times. We shall experience our nature, which is blissful in nature. May God bless all of us so that we shall remember this time and again in every walk of our life, in every action, we shall try to manifest this divinity at every action so that we'll experience the immortal bliss, which is our inherent nature. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu. Yeah, any question?
Maharajji, Pranam, Rajoshi here.
Yeah, Rajesh, go ahead.
I have actually two questions. First is, like we perceive name and form through mind, right? So it is
Yes.
mind that perceives name and form. So
Mhm.
should we say that Maya reside? Where does Maya reside? Does Maya reside in mind, or Maya independently resides outside as well? And uh, shall I also ask the second question, or
Yes,
maybe?
yes. You ask.
And the second question is that it is by God's will that we have name and form, right? For example, so this is something which I always think that, let's say you have clay, and clay plus a shape leads to pot.
Mhm.
Now, clay is real.
Mm.
The shape carries a specific information. So that also is important. Now that power of information is also the same power of God. And it is by God's will that we have so many names and forms. So why should we not respect the names and forms and say that it is God, by God's will we have name and form, and
Mm.
therefore we accept all the names and forms with full respect? Why
Okay.
do we need to cut it off?
Yeah, it's a beautiful question. So the first question is bit a technical question from because of this. There are 3 different schools actually, 3 important main schools in the Advaita. Advaita also has got 3 schools. One is the Vartika school. There is a Bhamati Prasthana, Vartika Prasthana, and one more Prasthana is there. One more 3 schools are there based on this. So there, when you go deeply a lot, so the Maya exists in the Brahman, or Maya exists in the individual self, or Maya exists independently. Based on this, there are 3 different schools. But more or less has been understood, and from the Upanishadic point of view, if you read Upanishads and the commentaries, very clearly we can understand that Maya exists in Brahman alone. Okay. What is the Adhisthana of Maya? That is in Brahman alone. Now, that is what Maya. When it comes to individual, we call it as an Ajnana. Okay. Now this Maya is nothing but the name and form. Okay. How this name and form is perceived? The name and form is perceived through your mind. For example, simple example I can give you, in the deep sleep, there is no dual experience at all. Why? There is no mind. There is no mind. There is, means mind is inactive. Sense organs are inactive. That's why there is no dual experience at all. Only yourself is there and Ajnana is there. You are not aware of yourself, no doubt, but you alone is there. And I mean, world exists objectively, no doubt. But for you, at least at that given point of time, no experience is there for you. You alone is there. But then from deep sleep, you come to dream sleep. There also your physical body is resting. Your sense organs of knowledge, sense organs of action, karmendriya and jnanendriyas are resting. But still your mind is active. Since your mind is active, you are able to experience the duality, you are able to experience the dual world. That means what happened? That means what? So your mind is the cause to experience these dualities or to experience the Maya, which is nothing but the name and form. Okay. I think your first question is clear.
Yes, Swamiji.
That's why Manonasha, that's why if you see in the Patanjali and all, last two Sundays, I have taken classes on this Samadhi, Ashtanga Yoga in that. First Saturday, I took on, Sampragnat Samadhi, different parts of Sampragnat Samadhi, different types of discussed. And previous Sunday, I discussed about Sampragnat Samadhi. In Sampragnat Samadhi, from grosser objects to slowly for the subtler objects, they try to concentrate. And after the subtler objects, then they try to concentrate on the bliss. They try to concentrate on an idea, different type of meditation practices. From all that, whatever mind is done, so from grosser objects to subtle objects, we are taken. And from there, we are asked to meditate on the concept or on the bliss or on the just an awareness. Then all our thoughts are restricted to only one thought in the Samprajna Samadhi. When it comes to Asamprajna Samadhi, even that one thought is also has been suppressed, cancelled, nullified, and the impressions are also burnt. Then what happens? If all the thoughts are nullified, your mind is blank. That means what? Your mind stops acting. When your mind stops acting, the according to Sankhyans and the yoga, that's Patanjali yoga, then the Purusha Prakriti Bheda Gnana happens. Swarupe Drashta Avasthanam, that is the second or third sutra in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. You'll be able to understand who are you, that I am the Purusha. Purusha means not masculine gender here. It is as a self, basically. Because when there's no mind, there's no experience of duality, that you will understand who are you. Even Sankhya and Yoga also says that. So all your experience of duality is because of the mind. Okay, so that is what your first question. Now, second question is, when I say Maya, everything is unreal or mithya, we are not using in the derogatory way. Many times people say, especially in Uttarakhand and in India, Indian cultural context, sab to Maya, chedadav. Means you neglect it, you shun it off. So it is in a neglective way, in a very substandard way, sometimes people do use that word, actually Maya. But when the scripture use the word Maya, it is not in any derogative way. They're only telling that, so try to hook on to the truth. So don't get carried over by this name and form. They're not denying that we should not have the name and form. We should not carry, or we should not really bother about name and form. No, we are not saying that. We need that. That's what I mentioned. Functional reality we also accept. Advaitins will accept, as to accept. Because as you said, part has got a particular shape. And part has got a particular function. Yes, without that, we cannot cook, probably. So that functional reality, the name and form, all we accept, no doubt. But the notion of reality has to be established, has to be shifted from the world to the Atman. That's why it has been told. So while telling, probably they give more importance to the Brahman and lesser importance to this Maya, or the notion of reality has been lessened. Because of that, people might mistake that the Brahman is, amplified or whatever, exemplified, and the world has been negated, or it has been used in a derogative way. Sometimes people can mistake. No. So here only we are asking, or Advaita Vedanta is asking you to shift the notion of reality from the name and form to the, what you say, to the real object, real entity, which is clay here. The name and form, yes, it is true. It has to be accepted. It exists, no doubt. Till the world exists, till our mind exists, all these things, it exists, no doubt. But the notion of reality has to change. I will give a simple example, one more, which often I give it. Now, you went to a fair. There are few sweet dolls are there, which is been taken. Then you, 5, 6 children have gone. So someone is asking, I want a white pigeon colored sweet. Someone said, I want a pink colored pigeon sweet. Someone said, I want peacock. I like peacock. I want peacock sweet. Someone said, I like, demon. So demon colored Mahishasura sweet is there. Mahishasura. So I want Mahishasura sweet. Now, for example, even a person, if according to the weighing is giving you whether you are taking pigeon, white color, pink color, Mahishasura, peacock, or what, the shop owner doesn't bother about all that. He only sees how much weighs it. Accordingly, he charges you. So even your parents are also not bothered. Our parents or elders are also not bothered. Okay, whatever color you want, whatever shape you want, you take. Because they also know that whether the color and the shape is not reality, the content is reality, the sweet or the sugar and the sweet or whatever is reality. But when we were children means, intellectually not developed enough. Intellectual maturity, understanding, comprehension is not well developed. For us, that name or that form is true for us. White color only I want. White colored pigeon only I want. Or I want demon Mahishasura only I want. Or I want pink colored sweet only. Without that, I will not take anything else. If someone says, because I think someone is asking, why don't you take white colored pigeon or some other thing or some other color? No, I want this one. So the notion of reality is so strong for us as we children in that color or in the shape. Now, the same person, when you grow after 20 years, 30 years, when you go to the fair, when you see the sweet shop and the same dolls, maybe similar dolls, then your understanding about them and your reaction towards them, it will completely change. That doesn't mean that there is change in the toys or dolls or whatever, no. But your comprehension about it has been changed. The notion of reality has been shifted from the name and form to the sweet and to the content. So similar, one more example I can give you is a golden ornaments. Now we need, someone wants necklace, someone wants bracelet, someone wants earring, someone wants nose ring. All this fine. So accordingly, account of necessity, we buy it. And afterwards, then some is old design, someone is a new design, someone looks so beautiful, someone looks okay. So based on new design, old design, also sometimes prices are fixed, no doubt. But in generally, the prices are fixed more the content on the gold. Now, when you say, oh, this is a new one, so it should be more, it should be costly. Then your friend purchased one more, both of you probably, purchased rings. You purchased a new one, new style, new design, and your friend purchased the old ring. Okay, then you argue, or you may think, or you may argue, because it's the latest one, it is a very fine design, new design, this should be costly. You think, and both of you approach, and you are charged with European currency, I'm saying, you are charged with 300 currency, 300 euros. Your friend purchased a ring, which is quite old, and he was charged 400 euros. Then you say, what? Oh, you are a cheater. You are telling for shopkeeper, my ring, whatever I took, it's a new brand, it's a new design, it should be costly. And there's the old ones. How can it be more? Then the shopkeeper says, my dear, whether it was a new one, is an old one, all these things, fine. Brand has got names, no doubt. Brand has its value, no doubt. But the content is more value, my dear. Yours is 10 grams gold worth, and his is 15 grams gold is there. That's why you have been charged 300 euros, and he has been charged 400 euros. Now you see, he doesn't deny the form. He doesn't deny the design. He himself has made that. He doesn't deny that old and new, but he values for the content called gold. Now, whether you might value the shape, the color, whether the old or new, or design and all. So you are obsessed with the form, you are obsessed with the shape, but the goldsmith, the shopkeeper is obsessed with the content, that is how much it carries the gold, amount of gold. So here the scriptures are also asking us to shift the notion of reality from the world to the Brahman. Now, once you experience the Brahman, you will be able to understand. So as Sri Ramakrishna says, Vijnana Avastha. So when you are going to the, when you are taking the steps to reach the terrace, you feel terrace is different and the steps are different. But when you go to reach, when you reach the terrace, you will understand terrace and the steps both are one and the same. Why? Because both are made up of same material. So when you experience the Brahman is appearing as reality, this world and etc. So both are true, no doubt. But at the beginning, if you take the both are true, then going towards Brahman might be difficult. That's the reason Brahman alone is real, that there is an appearance. Not in a derogative way, but only the notion of reality should be switched from the matter to the consciousness, matter to the self. For that only all these explanations and the theories are etc. are given. I hope you understood what is the Advaita Vedantins intention.
Yes, Maharaj ji. Thank you so much.